The film begins with a man frantically trying to escape a dense forest, his desperation evident. As night falls, he encounters a fairy skeleton with a sign that reads, "Point of no return." Fear grips him as the darkness deepens and birds flee the area. With no place to hide, he climbs a tall tree, only to fall. Before losing consciousness, he is dragged away by an unseen force, his screams echoing through the forest. The scene shifts to 6 days later in the city, where a girl named Mina is introduced. She has no friends or family except for her sister and works at a pet store. Her boss tasks her with delivering a parrot to the zoo. Taking the parrot home for the night, Mina sets off for the zoo the next morning. Along the way, she mistakenly takes a wrong turn and ends up in the same forest where the man disappeared. Driving deeper into the forest, Mina eventually has to abandon her car and ventures forward, hoping to find help. As darkness falls and birds flee once more, the ground shakes, and Mina feels a presence nearby. She spots an old woman running and follows her, pleading for assistance. The woman does not stop but eventually calls out to Mina, urging her to run to safety. Mina follows the old woman to a house, which turns out to be a strange room with a huge mirror. Inside, 2 other people are present. Frightened, Mina asks what this place is, but they remain silent and instruct her to stand before the mirror, warning that someone is coming. The old woman Madeline cryptically says that watchers are coming to see them. Suddenly, strange noises fill the air. The old woman Madeline told Mina that the watchers were happy she had come and were clapping for her. The night passed uneventfully, and they emerged from the house in the morning. Madeline explained that the watchers only came out at night, allowing them to roam the forest freely during the day. However, Mina was determined to leave the forest and began her journey out. Madeline warned her that there was no way out and insisted they must return to the house before nightfall or risk their lives. Ignoring the warning, Mina continued with her parrot, but soon encountered the same point of no return sign. Fearful but resolute, she pressed on toward the sun, only to find herself unable to escape. Feeling the ground tremble beneath her, Mina panicked and rushed back to the house, admitting defeat. Madeline comforted her, revealing that they too had tried and failed to escape the forest. She explained that the forest ensnares souls and shows them strange visions, driving them mad if they don't stick together. The forest is the hunter, and they are its prey. Madeline showed Mina a circle of point of no return signs surrounding their house, warning her not to ignore them if she wanted to stay alive. Mina asked who had placed the signs, and Madeline revealed that a professor had done it. As night fell, they returned to the house. Each night, the watchers observed them, and that night a girl named Kira danced for them, expressing her enjoyment of the eerie ritual. While they could engage in various activities, they could not turn their faces away from the watchers. During the day, they faced numerous challenges, hunting for food to survive. The next day, Kira and Mina ventured into the forest to gather supplies. Mina inquired about the watchers' intentions, and Kira explained that Madeline believed the watchers observed them, and that seeing the watchers would drive them mad. Kira showed Mina several pits scattered throughout the forest, explaining that the watchers dwelled in them during the day and emerged at night. Mina learned that Kira and the others had been trapped in the forest for 6 months. Kira's husband had gone to find a way out, and she remained hopeful he would succeed. Unbeknownst to Mina, Kira's husband was the man who had disappeared at the beginning of the movie. Upon returning home, Madeline laid out 3 rules for survival in the forest. The first being never to open the door of the house at night. Madeline's second rule was that Mina should never turn her back to the mirror at night. The third rule was to stay away from the holes during the day and remain in the light. One night, Mina, curious about the watchers, tried to listen for any sound from the mirror. Hearing nothing, she turned her back to the mirror, angering the watchers. They began banging on the mirror, even causing it to crack. The noise woke Madeline, who urged Mina to face the mirror again to calm the watchers. Eventually, the night ended. The next day, Mina went hunting with Daniel, determined not to waste her days in the forest and preparing for a potential escape. She asked Daniel if he had ever seen a watcher, to which he replied no. Mina then confided her suspicion that Madeline's stories were fabricated to trap them. She suggested they check the holes, hoping to find a way out. Daniel, eager to escape, agreed. Mina tied a rope around herself and descended into a hole while Daniel held the other end. Inside, she discovered various human belongings, likely from others trapped in the forest. As they retrieved the items, Mina saw fingers inside the hole but couldn't discern more before retreating in fear. Back at the safe house, Madeline questioned them about the items. But Mina and Daniel lied, claiming they found them in the forest. Madeline, aware of the truth, pressed Mina about what she saw in the hole, but Mina remained silent. Among the items was a camera, which they set up as a CCTV outside the house to observe the watchers. Despite Madeline's warnings, they were determined to see the watchers. That night something strange happened. The door was knocked, and through the camera they saw human legs and heard a voice mimicking Kira's husband. Kira, hopeful, believed her husband had found a way out. She quickly rushed to open the door, but Madeline stopped her, insisting that it wasn't her husband outside. Kira, disbelieving, was told by Madeline to ask a question only her husband would know the answer to. Kira asked about a specific book, but the person outside couldn't respond correctly. Realizing it was a watcher, Kira refrained from opening the door. In response, the watchers smashed the camera outside, and all the watchers grew angry. They began to attack the mirror outside the house. Acting quickly, everyone stood in front of the mirror, calming the watchers, who then ceased their attack. The previous night had been perilous, and Daniel and Mina decided to confess to Madeline that they had entered the pit. Furious, Madeline threw all the items retrieved from the pit back in, declaring that Mina would now have to stay despite her wishes. Time passed and winter arrived, trapping them further. Each day, Mina tried to find a way out, mapping the forest but finding no escape. The lack of food and harsh conditions took a toll on their mental state. Amidst this, a fight broke out between Madeline and Daniel. In his anger, Daniel locked Madeline and Mina outside the safe house, taking Kira inside and bolting the door. As night fell, Madeline and Mina, desperate, begged Daniel to let them in, but he refused. Forced to seek shelter under a dense tree, they heard the watchers' ominous sounds. For the first time, the audience sees the watchers, tall, thin, and menacing. The watchers emerged from their holes and approached the safe house, searching for humans to devour. With the watchers distracted, Madeline and Mina managed to return to the safe house and banged on the door until Daniel let them in. Panicked from their encounter, Madeline confessed that she had come to the forest intentionally to find these creatures, believing them to be fairies based on her readings. But upon seeing them, she realized they were monsters, capable of mimicking any appearance. She explained that these creatures were intelligent, learning from humans and gradually becoming more like them. As they talked, the door was knocked again. The creatures, now mimicking their voices, demanded entry. Knowing the door wouldn't hold against the watchers' strength, they frantically searched for a hiding place. Daniel noticed the uneven ground and, removing the carpet, discovered a bunker. They quickly descended into it and sealed the entrance. Inside, they were astonished to find a fully equipped bunker, stocked with food, TVs, technology, and other supplies. Curious about its origins, Mina turned on a computer. Though there was no internet, data had been saved on it. When they opened the computer, they discovered that Dr. Martin had created the bunker. He knew about these creatures and intended to research them. To do this, he lured humans with promises of money, left them in the room above, and hid in the bunker at night while the monsters devoured the humans. In his research, Dr. Martin revealed that these creatures were once fairies who lived among humans. However, after betraying the humans, they fled to the forests, losing their magic and feathers from years of living underground. Martin mentioned discovering a different kind of fairy that could emerge from the holes even in daylight. This fairy was kind and spared Martin's life, so he brought her to the bunker. She learned a lot from Martin, but eventually they had a falling out. The computer was filled with videos where Dr. Martin documented his findings. Desperate to know what happened in the end, Mina played the last video. In it, Martin was preparing to kill himself and the fairy. Before dying, he explained a way out of the forest. Follow the direction in which the birds fly in the evening. He left a final message, urging anyone who escaped to go to the university and destroy his research, admitting his grave mistake in coming to the forest. Encouraged by this new hope, they spent the night more comfortably. Emerging from the bunker, they found their safe house destroyed by the watchers. Following Martin's advice, they waited for the evening birds to guide them out of the forest. Mina released her parrot, and they started moving in its direction. Along the way, they encountered a grave, prompting Madeline to share how the fairies were once deceived by humans and left in the forest, losing their feathers and magic in the process. They reached a stream, their escape route, just as the watchers began emerging from their holes. Preparing to leave in Martin's boat, Daniel encountered his injured companion John. Rushing to help, Daniel didn't realize John was actually a fairy in disguise. The others watched in horror as the fairy, now mimicking Daniel's appearance, killed him. The fairies couldn't cross the stream, allowing the group to finally reach the city. Mina then visited Martin's university to destroy his data, as he had instructed. Before doing so, she discovered that long ago humans and fairies had intermarried, producing hybrid offspring. She also learned that Madeline, whom they met in the forest, was actually Martin's wife. Puzzled why Madeline hadn't revealed this, Mina sought out Kira to discuss it. As she told Kira the truth, she realized she was actually talking to Madeline, disguised as Kira. The real Kira lay unconscious nearby. The fairy, in her anger, attacked Mina to keep her secret. Before the attack, the fairy revealed that she had been outcast by other fairies for being different, able to come out in daylight. Mina then told her she was special, a hybrid of human and fairy, which was why she could survive in both worlds and escape the forest. Upon hearing this, Madeline regained her feathers and magic, flying away and leaving Mina behind. Weeks later, Mina, still fearful from her ordeal, moved in with her sister. She confided her fear that the fairy was still following her. Her sister reassured her, but in the final scene, a girl was shown outside Mina's house. It was Madeline, now living as a girl in their world. The story ends with this eerie scene.